Okay, so dear Dharma practitioners, be comfortable yourself and relax your body. Keep your back straight, neck head straight in one line, and your right palm on your left. So gently close your eyes and bring attention to this bell sound. And while you're focusing to the sound, mentally relax your body, relax your mind, and relax your breathing with your thoughts. So do nothing extra. Just follow the sound, please. Namo tassa bhagavato arahato samma sambuddhassa. Namo tassa bhagavato arahato samma sambuddhassa. Namo tassa bhagavato arahato samma sambuddhassa. Homage to the Blessed One, the Exalted One, the fully enlightened One. So, dear Dhamma practitioners, in these ongoing meditation sessions, we mainly try to share some basic, authentic information regarding tranquility meditation and insight meditation. So as you know, nowadays, there are many kind of meditation techniques, and people have different kind of intention or motivation to practice meditation. And there are different meditation techniques has ability to change the human mind and go in a different ways. But here in this tranquility meditation and vipassana meditation, we mainly try to develop our inner awareness. Why we need that inner awareness? To reach to the wisdom or to recognize things as it is, and after that, how things come to be as they are, to understand that. So when you practice meditation, it is your own responsibility as a practitioner, or as a yogi, or as a student, as a community of this Sangha. It is your own personal responsibility. Always look into yourself and see what is your motivation, what is your intention, because you are the only one can see that, and you are the only one know that. So maybe in as ordinary people in day-to-day life, we have many needs, but still remember, this is a great opportunity for all of us as human beings to uplift our awareness, and at the same time bring our life to a higher level, or the better position, and to uplift our profitable skills. So as you know, through this whole journey that we came through, we developed certain kind of ideas, patterns, thoughts, behavior, habits, and then through the society, we just maintain that. And you have to look into yourself and see, is there any reason for you to maintain this like this way? Or is there any change you need? So if you need the change, the very first thing that you have to remember, that look into yourself and see, to start that change from inside you. So that's why when it comes to the meditation, the major important part is recognizing the very behavior or the nature of your own mind. So in the beginning, you have to have a very kind of like need, very authentic need. You have to be truthful to yourself, because if you don't have that intention, if you don't have that desire, maybe on the way you will see you get more some benefits, but it is very difficult for you to go deeper, because there are, we like informations, and informations and the truth, two different things. We like informations, but sometimes we don't look for the truth. We don't look for the reality. But this path is develop the awareness towards the wisdom or the reality or the truth. So in that level, one is that you have to have the deeper intention or the desire, authentic desire. By yourself, you have to have that motivation, self-motivation, and you have to be honest to yourself. Because on the way, sometimes our own mind will get tangled with certain mental experience, maybe. And we think, oh, this is good for me. This is enough for me. So like that, sometimes we caught up in our own mind. Another thing is, you should not stop your effort to push your limits day by day with your insight practice. So that is where our own inner habitual patterns become a hindrance to ourselves to go to push that limit, because sometimes we don't allow it to happen. So then remember, when you sit, always there is a kind of like a motivational story that one group of people went to a island, and then they burned the boat and start to fight. It's kind of like you don't look way back. And there were a group of monks, and they climbed to a higher mountain using a ladder. And then they all came to the top of the mountain, and then what they did, they dropped the ladder and they start to practice meditation. It is because they never had the intention to go back. So one thing is, when you sit for meditation, bring a very clear, deeper understanding. Little by little, you can practice. So I give some basic information. Remember to apply it to your day-to-day life. And then by the time you will nourish it deeper into you, and you will get more deeper understanding. So one thing is, remember, when you sit for meditation, don't sit with the idea about something that whatever you used to continue in day-to-day life. As example, maybe you keep doing gardening, and then you want to practice meditation, and you think, oh, I want to practice meditation a little bit, 5 minutes, 10 minutes. Then after that, I go to finish my gardening. Or maybe you have to do laundry or you cleaning, or maybe how you keep doing cleaning and laundry, or your household activity, and then by the time you think, oh, I want to practice meditation a little bit, and you sit for meditation to continue that whatever your work you used to do. No, don't do that. Even 5 minutes you sit for meditation. Remember the cutoff. Shut down that the continuation, that the mentally, the proliferation that you develop in you, that your conversation with whatever the activity you used to do. You sit even 1 minute. You sit completely, you have to settle down with the sitting. So that is something that you have to remember wherever you go, whenever you practice meditation, and sometimes that every day when I, before I sleep, I practice little bit sitting. And in the beginning that I thought, it's always there's a, the cushion then next to my bed. So I always sit and I think, okay, 5 minutes, I close my eyes and then go to the bed. And then by the time I understood, it doesn't work like that way, So then forget about sleeping. When I sit, I start to understood it's completely, I settle down with the sitting and forget about sleeping. I don't sit pose, go to bed. So like that, it start to give me some kind of clarity deeper. And then I start to apply it in day-to-day life while I practice a little bit. Then sometimes it's 1 minute, 1 minute, you can get into a very deeper, you have to little bit practice how to shut down or cut off that or that mental conversation or the physical, that current we develop with the activities. So try to develop that. And another thing I want to mention today, that when you go to sleep, so as you know, the end of our life, that whatever our last thought going to be the very foundation for our next life. So then if you look very carefully, like imagine like a billion years, if you draw a line, billion years, it's kind of like 100 years, like 1 day for us, 24 hours, I mean, it's kind of like you sleeping, wake up, sleeping, wake up, sleeping, wake up, sleeping, wake up. It's kind of like that. So then if you slowly expand and recognize that your day, when you go to sleep, it's same kind of like you're going to, you end kind of like a one life circle. You end one kind of existence. And then tomorrow you're going to wake up with another life. So then when you go to sleep, have a very clear mind and try to don't sleep to continue your life, because that itself, the samsara, that's become the habitual pattern. Then the same thing when we die, it's that continuation go. So you can get a little bit practice, and you have to a little bit focus to that and try to catch it and try to practice yourself. Then you will see how it works. Anytime you can drop your mind from this continuation of thoughts pattern or the current, you can detach, you can completely become neutral. So it's in a certain level, you can, it become very helpful for you, even in this very conventional life. So when you go to sleep, remember, try it. And you have to practice yourself, and you have to experience it yourself and understand it. So when you go to sleep, completely end that day and don't have any thought to continue for tomorrow. So it's another way, it's become kind of like you go to mindful sleeping. And another thing is your entire that mind, your body start to get a complete rest. That is very necessary as ordinary people. Because if we look our life, it's always kind of like that there's no break. There's no kind of even just kind of like a little rest for us. From one thing to another, one thing to another, one thing to another is continue. So then try to practice these two things from today and see what you can experience yourself. So one is while you're sitting, and remember, don't sit with the mental chattering or the continuation of whatever the activities. Completely, you drop it. Another thing is when you go to sleep, and don't go to sleep with any kind of thoughts to continue your next day. Be completely empty. Stop it. Give a complete full stop to this mental behavior, mental pattern, mental chattering, proliferation, argument, conversation. And so that way, by the time, if you become very skillful with that, even just imagine when there is a time come for you to die, somehow knowingly or unknowingly it's going to come to us. But by the time, just imagine there is a moment come for you to die. In that very moment, you have become very skillful person to see your thoughts pattern and shut it down. And when the thought pattern shut it down like that way, when you reduce the desires or any kind of continuation of the thoughts, it will help for you to get into a more better place. And so those are things to practice a little bit. And today for the lesson, when it comes to the meditation, so we go with the tranquility meditation and the vipassana meditation. So the tranquility meditation is the beginning, the develop the foundation to help us to calm down our mind. So why it is necessary, why it is necessary for us to calm down our mind? Because if we go with always thoughts, what will happen? That our perception not going to become very clear. And then we misunderstand. Once you misunderstand your perception, what happens? Your reactions going to become different. So that way we manipulate the connection. So then when it comes to the very beginning of meditation, it's called that there are three kind of dimensions that this mind shift step by step, step by step. So the very first dimension that you have to develop is called cognitive dimension. So the cognitive dimension has two methods. So the one is recognizing outside things as it is. Clear recognition, clear understanding. So for that, observation is very necessary. And so whatever you experience, whatever exists around you, your environment, and even it can expand to the universe. So when you see something, when you see this computer, when you see these lights, when you see this house, these walls, when you see the trees, birds, animals, sky, clouds, the moon, the sun. So you have to have a certain understanding, and you have to recognize it very clearly as it is. So that is a kind of like an exercise in day-to-day life. If you see something, so then bring little, so that how you can tune to that, that is where you need the attention. So the mindful attention. And so always remember, when you see something, bring the mindful attention to your eye consciousness or whatever you see. And don't try to go beyond that and think. No, first try to recognize it. And even at home, when you have a conversation, So bring your mindful attention to your ear consciousness, what you hear. Don't try to go beyond, jump ahead and look for solutions. Maybe husband or the wife or the children or the parents, brothers, sisters, or the partners, your friends maybe, try to tell something. Maybe you also want to add something for that conversation as an answer or the reply. But if you don't hear what other person told or try to tell, your answer not going to become complete maybe. So this is a skill that you have to develop in day-to-day life, to develop this cognitive dimension. So that's mean first try to hear exactly as it is. Try to understand that what other person tried to tell. Try to see what you see through your eye. Try to recognize it exactly as it is. And try to experience that environment that you go through exactly as what it is, not what we think. So that is what the challenge, because then you will see most of time that what we experience or what we hear or what we smell, the most of time it is not that what is exactly happening in the outside, that sometimes our mental behavior, that our deeper memory, our own thoughts manipulate our perception. That's what happened inside us. Or we call it the mental formations or the sanskara. It's always interfering. It's not disturbed for us to reach that whatever come to our eye, ear, nose, tongue, body. But the thing is, once it receive from inside, what happened? Our mental formations or our memory start to overwrite that what we experience. So that is where we're going to misunderstand something. So otherwise, if you really get the exactly whatever you experience, that is the very meaning or the purpose of tranquility state. So this tranquility mind, this tranquility meditation, try to take you to that level. So otherwise, from your samsaric journey, from your birth to this life in this so far in this journey, then sometimes we accumulated so much memory. And then so just imagine in this very moment when you see something that so much enormous memory, come and override this moment of experience, what will happen? This moment of experience maybe not have that much clarity or the power to reduce the power of that overwriting memory. So then it overtake, then we experience everything, same thing every day, everywhere. So then you no need to vomit your, you no need to repeat your life in this very moment to each and every moment. This entire universe have a very new moment. So then as a human being, when you become very conscious, you are capable to catch that newness with your eye, ear, nose, tongue, body, mind. Just imagine how powerful it is, how blissful it is. So then in this very lifetime, are we experience that bliss? Are we experience that beauty? Are we experience that newness in life? Or we try to repeat something or we try to hold it to something? So that's why the tranquility state take you to that level of understanding and it shift your dimension. So the cognitive dimension, the very first step, recognize the outside things as it is. And once you have that, then another thing is the second step, that what you experience inside as feelings, with your eye, ear, nose, tongue, body, mind, the consciousness, the very moment of experience, you have to recognize it also as it is. The very reason is because our behavior, our memory, our patterns, habits become a very challenge for us even to recognize that our own inner feelings and our emotions, our fear, our anxiety, depression. So this all attack, this all sometimes override the moment of feelings. So that's why now you have to understand, to develop the cognitive dimension, get into the shift in this ordinary life, get into the shift to happen, that to pass the threshold, to get into the other side of your experience, to have the tranquility state. So two ways, and develop the awareness with the experience with this outside world or the environment, and the perception and the look into the very moment of feelings that you go through. So that will help moment by moment to develop that. So once you have it, now you know that what you experience exactly as it is. So now you come to the point to have an undisturbed mind. And then that dimension is different. And then there is another dimension. So that dimension called reflective dimension. So the reflective dimension, very meaning of that is that whatever the perception that you perceive, rather than hold it with, rather than settle down with it, rather than hanging with, rather than holding it, hugging it, you start to reflect and detach from the moment rather than go towards it. That is a skill. Why? Because through the samsaric journey, the very behavior of this, all the animals have behavior. When there is something experience, naturally you harness with the experience, you jump it with, and you become with that experience. That's how this life is a deeply, it's kind of like this. Your consciousness is kind of like a bug, and it eating the moment of experience, waiting to eat the experience. So that's what happened. But now you develop a method. The reflective dimension means when you experience something, rather than go with it, rather than jump into it, you detach from that. It's kind of like you develop a kind of like a third person point of view. Just imagine now that I can see my own image through this screen. So you all the same wherever you are. So then that maybe just imagine you look at the mirror. So then your body is here, the mirror is there, the reflection, and then at the same time that you know that you're looking at the mirror. So that's a kind of like a third person point of view. Your face, the mirror, and on the mirror there is a reflection, there is a face, but at the same time you are conscious and you are detached from the face while you're looking at the mirror. That's how, if there is something on your face, that's how you can, if you want to put the makeup or something like that, who put the makeup? Your consciousness put the makeup, but in that very moment, what happened? You are separate from the face, otherwise you can't do it. So like that, when you experience something, in that very moment when you detach from the experience, what happens? You're going to deeply recognize something. That recognition is the the Vipassana understanding. How things come to be as they are, the causation, dependent origination, how it became like this. So that's become a more profitable skill for you within that your own inner experience, within your own inner feelings. When the feelings arise, you rather than go with it, rather than holding it, if you hold it, what will happen? That feelings become yourself. I am. It become you. So, but now when the feelings, when you don't respond to the feelings and you recognize it, what happens? Feelings arise, it disappear. Now you can see how that feelings arise, why that feelings arise. That is where the wisdom arises for you. And it is not within yourself. Even in the beginning, we mentioned the very first step, we observe the outside things. And then as a result of this wisdom, what happened? When you see something outside, even any material things, any person or anything, you know why it became like that. In the beginning, you recognize how it as it is. Now you recognize how it became as it is. So that is the wisdom. Once you have that, there is no doubt within your experience, and there is no attachment within your own experience. So the detachment itself comes then in the very experience, in this very moment, that your moment of living itself become the liberation. Because you are not attached to it, but you experience it. And that is where you deeply experience the bliss. So when you into that method, what happened deeply, you recognize this all experience come as a result of causation. There is no anything going to happen because of your name or your family background or because of you. There's nothing happen because of personally, just only for you. That was the brand new idea what the Buddha introduced to the world. Before the Buddha, the people had all the yogis, all other religions, and everybody used to do one thing. What is that? They used to look for the self and try to maintain the self. And they had the idea about what is this self. That is what they used to do. Look, what is this self and how this self happening? And you know what the Buddha did? Once the Buddha, you know, that when he attained to the Buddha, he came to the society, he came to the all other, you know, the spiritual people who ever practiced, and he told there is no self. See, just imagine, you know, what is this self? How this self happening? When you have that point of view, that deeply you already believe there is a self. So through the causation, what the Buddha has understood, there is no self. So then what is this self? How this self happening? And then the Buddha came and said, there is no self. It was kind of like a, you know, huge news, and it's kind of like a breaking news. It's like you know, the completely that every, you know, that kind of like the people's ideas, the all the spiritual leaders, everybody, you know, shift to different level, because otherwise, so towards that level to the Buddha, that everybody look, you know, try to look for what is self. But Buddha came and told no self. And when you recognize that, what is happened next? So now you know the cognitive dimension, see things as it is. And for that, you have to be very authentic and you have to be honest to yourself and you have to be very truthful to yourself. You have to have some effort to do that. So then from that point, the reflective dimension. So from that level, that what you experience as feelings, sensation, perceptions, volitions, formations. So this all you recognize, it is not you. It happened as a result of cause and effect or the causation. And when you have that, you recognize within yourself and even that all these outside events become very crystal clear because you know what is the cause and effect. And then that is where the detachment happens. That is where the self-centered mind disappears. So once you have that, what next? The very next dimension is compassionate dimension. So you only have the equanimity and you have only the compassion regarding each and everything. Because you that is where you recognize you are part of this all, that everything part of you. And once you have that, you become so vulnerable, you become more humble regarding the situations and with the environment, with other people, and only you have the equanimity and the balance within each and everything, no dualistic mind, no comparison. So that is where once you lead to that level, once you come to that dimension, that is where there's no way back. When you have only the equanimity, just imagine, when you have only the equanimity, no dualistic mind, no comparison, how blissful it is. So if you have a moment to end a day, when you go to sleep, just imagine, forget about the death, okay? If you are capable to end a day with that equanimity or with that kind of like a compassionate mind regarding each and everything around you, to be more vulnerable, to be open, to be accept each and everything without resistance and respecting, knowingly it is a part of you and you are a part of it. The bringing that total harness without any kind of limitation. If you can just sleep, forget about death, you know, if you can sleep, you will experience something. That's why, because the, you know, sometimes when we make mistakes, sometimes when we try to, you know, verbalize our experience, it's going to go to a different meaning. So that's why I don't want to verbalize it, but I want to give you the method or the system or to show you the mechanism. So you have to practice it and you have to try it. Otherwise, you're not going to understand what is that you can experience there. So if you are capable to that, no, in this very lifetime, the very moment that when you sit for meditation, you shift to the cognitive dimension, you shift to the reflective dimension, and you shift to the compassionate dimension. In that very moment, there is no way back, there is no reverse method, or there's no that, you know, kind of like you going to come back to this ordinary level of dimension. So in that very moment, each and every moment, you will experience the bliss, liberation, that each and every moment your transformation happen, each and every moment you will understand what is the meaning of Nibbana. So with that, let's get into practice a little bit now. So your right palm on your left hand, neck, head straight in one line, and be comfortable with your posture. Bring your attention to your body, please, and scan head to toes yourself. And say Supatveva, oh, may I be well and happy 3 times. And take a moment and think, we gathered here in this moment to practice this ancient meditation technique. All the Buddhas, all the enlightened masters followed this path and achieved wisdom. So we also gathered here to accumulate that knowledge. In this moment with this sitting, may my body become more comfortable, may my breath be more smooth, may no difficulties come to me, may all the success come to me. Also think for a moment, this is the last moment we're spending in this very lifetime, and detach your mind from all your past memories and as well as any kind of future thoughts. Just try to remain in the present moment, observing the sensation of your inhalations and exhalations. And at the same time, if there are any kind of feelings arise in your body, just try to recognize it and see how it arises and disappears. So in the beginning, deeply and gently breathe in, breathe out 3 times and find the sensation, please. And allow your inhalations, exhalations happen itself. Through the sensation, recognize it, do nothing extra. Bring your attention to your body, please. Observe your posture. We cultivate loving kindness and compassion in our heart and radiate it as a light through entire your compound, village, city, state, country, world, around this universe. Also as far as you can through galaxies, other planets, stars. Reminding yourself like this. With clear intention, mentally repeat after me. May all living beings in this universe be well and happy. May everyone be happy and safe. And may their hearts be filled with joy. May all living beings live in security and in peace. Beings who are frail or strong, tall or short, big or small, visible or not visible, near or far away. Already born or yet to be born. May all of them dwell in perfect tranquility. Let no one do harm to anyone. Let no one put the life of anyone in danger. Let no one out of anger or ill will wish anyone any harm. Expand the loving kindness and compassion beginning from your heart. Forward. Visualize yourself and send it as a light. To your backside. To your left side. Into your right side. Downward. And upward. To all 6 directions at once, like the moon, the sun, spread the light, spread the energy, without any condition, without any limitation, without any resistance or without any judgment. Let your heart to shine with the loving kindness and compassion from the bottom of it, with the maximum effort to the highest, wishing yourself, may all living beings in this universe be well and happy.
Say sadhu, sadhu, sadhu. So first of all, we offer this practice to the great qualities of the Buddha, Dhamma and the Sangha, and also by the power of this meritorious deed, may all of us attain to the supreme bliss of Nibbana. May all your guardian angels and deities will receive these merits and increase their longevity and protect all of you from any kind of planetary influences or any ill effects. Ittavata cha ammihi sampadam punya sampadam sabbe devanumodantu sabba sampatti siddhya sabbe bhutanumodantu sabba sampatti siddhya sabbe sattanumodantu sabba sampatti siddhya Maya Dhammanu Dhamma Patipattiya Buddham Pujemi Dhammam Pujemi Sangam Pujemi Attaya Imaya Patipattiya Jati Jara Vyadi Maranam Ha Parimunjisami Idamme Punya Kammang Asavakkaya Vang Hotu Sabba Dukkha Pamunchatu. Bless you.